Good morning, guys. Hope you guys have a great day or had a great weekend, right? And just went over the gamma report today. It's very simple and very easy to understand. It basically lays out both scenarios for you. It's basically telling you stay open-minded. Upside is also possible. Downside is also possible, right? So on SPX, before I go over the levels, I'm just gonna write something. Okay, so we have right here. For SPX, our volatility trigger for today is, let me just double check that number one more time. So our volatility trigger on SPX we have as 45.15. All right, so volatility trigger is 45.15. You guys all know what that means. If you don't know, refer to Spock at my website. They have a glossary there. They have all the help you guys need for the terms. It'll save me time here. It's very straightforward. We break 4500, negative gamma builds up, means more positions will be bought up and an accelerated move down towards 4400 and even up to 4300. Basically the door stays open, all right, which is very likely looking at this chart. But then by looking at this chart, this is also likely that we can get 4600 plus and grind toward a higher and go higher than this, right? Obviously, unless something changes along the way. So on SPX, anything is possible. We rip through the open, we stay strong. 4600 is within levels and we can even go through 4600. Today they're expecting some volatility in the market, about 1% or so. Maybe more can also happen, right? Maybe we can have an absolutely rip Monday through the highs of 29th March, and we go all the way up, or we can lose some ground here and maybe go underneath, right? Unless they decide to hold it between here, then we'll see what happens, right? And also, if you have Spot Gamma subscription, you can put these levels on your trading view, right? They teach you how to do it, and they automatically just get put on your platform once you download the stuff, right? So SPX both ways, is bullish at the same time, but it can also be bearish if certain levels are broken. So between 4500, 4600, it is wise not to pick a side, let something build up and then see what's gonna happen. So patience is must, all right? Qs as well. The only thing on Qs is last week when I looked at the weekly candle, right, we posted this chart on our Instagram as well. The only thing I see here is, on the weekly, it kind of closed bearish. This is not a bullish candle in my opinion, according to my experience. And then we failed to hold above the 50 MA on the weekly on tech. So now the question is, can we take over 50 MA and close above these levels and then maybe continue up? Or do we rip in the first half of the week and then Thursday, Friday, maybe something hits and we close underneath 50 MA again, right? Then that just builds up a scenario for more downside. So here, both options are open, right? If we hold above, obviously on the weekly we can go higher, right? Which puts the best case for Fang. So I posted some Tom Lee notes. He's pretty good with his notes that he gives out, his predictions. So pay attention to Tom Lee's notes, right? He's paying attention to tech that can rip through in this market, right? But again, the Qs would have to go up higher. And if it fails, then obviously downside is possible, right? And he's giving you a big probability of 88% that the market is bottom for 2022, which I disagree and agree with, right? So that's just my own views, but let's see how that plays out in the coming months. And obviously, don't forget this pattern also, head and shoulders. We all know this, right? It's pretty visible that this is something that can happen. We can even rip this week, and then in the following weeks, this can form. Or maybe for some weeks, we zigzag here, whatever happens, and then later on it forms. It can take maybe 2 months for this shoulder to form if this pattern plays out, right? So maybe in June, July, we might see lower. So anything is possible. Keep all these options open, and let's see what happens. But 50 MA on tech will be magnet for some time, I believe. We will hold around these levels above or down here, and let's see how this plays out, and then we'll go on from there. And Tesla, they hit their delivery number, right? They hit their delivery number, 310,000. I think it was slightly above their estimates, but maybe the street was expecting more. I don't know. On pre-market, it's not bad. Tesla has held up great. I'm just gonna go over to a daily chart. Tesla held up great last week, even through all these dips that were happening. Tesla did not budge. It kept holding near the 1100 level, all right? But now what we want to see is we want to see this break above 1110, 11.9. If it breaks above, this thing can squeeze maybe through this trend line, or maybe we get rejected somewhere around this trend line, wherever it comes to 1140, 1130. I have no idea, all right? But if it gets through it, a clear breakout is in the skies, and then we follow along with it. If this level fails, if 1070 fails to a downside, right? To the downside, 1070 number we have from the initial squeeze. 1070 failed, we have 1040, and then if 1040 fails, we obviously have sub 1000, right? And then obviously it can give up gains and come test these levels, this zone right here basically. It can easily come and test this zone, and I think a pullback to this zone would be healthy, and then we come back up again flat. That would be great, right? If it just rips right through it, I mean, it's going to give us less chance to play. Options will be expensive, so it ran from 700 to almost 1100. The stock is up about 30-40% in like less than 3 weeks, right? And that's a big move. So can it digest? Let's see. Well, this area could be likely, right? Starbucks, this they announced their share buyback, that they're gonna stop it for some time, right? And that they want to invest in their products, research, and more stores to create more value for the stockholders. Right, so Starbucks, obviously the news is negative. On the daily, we closed right at the 50 MA, and on Friday we saw that they were actually holding up Starbucks. Right, when we were going over the call buying and put selling for the daily, I was watching this live. This stock actually held up. It actually held up, right, throughout the day, right? And then obviously the following day it gave up. Actually, that was on Thursday. We were going over the call buying and put buying off spot gamma, where we were tracking this live. The stock actually held up pretty well. So indicator is pretty good. It's not bad. Now if we go on the daily on Starbucks, obviously 50 MA it failed, and I think this gap will come, which is roughly right here, and they're opening it right here. So this is gonna fill the gap. If you rip right back through it, Starbucks, I'm gonna give you guys a number. We go through 92 in the coming days. 100 will be very fast on Starbucks. So 92, put this as alert. If we take out 92 on Starbucks in the coming days, in a week or two, if that does happen, 100 will be fast on Starbucks. That's an $8 move on options. All the way from here to here. That's going to be a fast move in my opinion. And if you cash it on options, you can make a lot of money on it. So pay attention to Starbucks. And then we have Twitter. Elon Musk announced a 10% stake. It's funny how he gave us hints last week. Right, or a week before, I believe, HK posted the picture. Twitter actually held up above this 50 MA, and it was surprising to me. We actually were making comments that why is Twitter holding up, right? Twitter kept holding up through the market, but then who knew that someone was buying Twitter, right? And that's a 10% stake is huge. And now obviously Twitter is at this level right here, right? This zone of resistance 50. They have some offers at 50. If you're watching level 2 right now, you guys can see it, right? They're trying to hold it below this zone, but if Twitter gets above 50, if Twitter holds 50, a 50 hold, right, can send this higher. Now the thing with Twitter is, let's say for example, the market cap only 30, 31, 32 billion, I think. And a lot of Elon Musk, a lot of people follow him. People now, when they buy Twitter, they're going to be buying a piece of Musk, not Twitter. Right? That's how I look at it. They're going to be investing in Musk, not in Twitter. But let's see how the news plays out in the coming days. Keep an eye. If Twitter holds these levels, it starts building a bull flag, this thing can probably squeeze. A lot of people, I think, may end up buying calls to it. Let's see how this plays out, and this can easily move $5-10 in a single day. Right? Even if $3-4 billion pour into this name, it's going to move up another 10-15% to the upside. Right, so keep that in mind. Musk has the magic. He's got the following. So 50 hold on Twitter, we can see 60, 65 really fast, right? So let's see how this plays out. But 50 is must. 50 is a huge number on Twitter. All right. So let's see. I have some leaps on Twitter which I bought right here, right? Which I bought a few months back. I'm still holding them. I had the June 2023. I bought them around this area right here. I bought them last year. If you guys go in the premium chat, I bought them around this area. Are they down? They're down huge, of course, right? But again, they're for 2023 for June. Can I make profits off them? I think I can. Let's see, right? I mean, in a few months, if this hits 80, 90, those are more than double, right? So let's see. A lot of turbulence on Twitter leaps for me. Let's see how this plays out in the coming months, right? And JPM also announced that they might end up losing $1 billion from the Russia-Ukraine crisis, right? So let's see, not a big amount for them, obviously, huge company, but banks are kind of weak. Banks, I will not long right now unless JPM can get about 145 and have a solid hold. The longer it holds here, JPM is just going to build a bear flag here. The longer it holds near 135, 130, it's just a sign in the coming weeks this might drop all the way towards these levels, which are 110 and all the way towards 100. So another $30 move down on JPM. And these moves happen really fast, and trust me, they happen. Right, and banks are very volatile sometimes, and they can absolutely fall down. They made JPM look bullish right here. It was bullish here. It was bullish here, right? So some of the names that we're seeing in the market, but look what happened the following weeks, right? So some names that you guys see on tech and whatnot, they look extremely bullish, but what happens after 2-3 months, the picture is totally going to be different, right? So let's see how that works out. Baba, Chinese names are absolutely strong right now. Chinese names are up. There's another news that they're cooperating, right? USA will have some more access to their audits and their further statements. A beautiful build, as long as 120 is hold, I would say 120 is where it's been getting rejected. 120 hold, 140 next. That's a $20 move on Baba, and it will be fast. They're just gonna gap it up like the way they do it, but these news have to come continuous, and China needs to hold. So far Baba has just been flagging on the daily, holding the 50 MA. We finally need to hold above the 50 MA and go higher, and that will change up some things from these last 6 months or so with what's been happening, right? So let's see how about, no sorry, 1 year, not 6 months, 1 year since 2020, right? Because every time it's above the 50 MA, it breaks out, it tries to go, it does not work. Right, so let's see if the 50 MA and 200 MA can cross in the coming weeks and months, and this can see much higher, obviously. And China likely putting in a very big bottom. So pay attention to Chinese names. I will not count them out. A lot of positive news lately, and same with Baidu. Here above, I would look for the 200 MA, which is 158, 160, and as long as we can hold above these levels, I will play to the upside. In between this, I would not play unless you're buying long-term equity or you have other plans. Fine, options playing in between this zone on Baidu, I simply would not touch. I would wait for above this hold and play to a bigger move upside, or if it breaks under this zone again and it holds under it, then to the downside, obviously. Right, so both options open, but between here, you might have to hold on options or have to be right the next day for a follow through in order to make profits. All right, it's Monday, guys, and then we have first HTZ had some news that they ordered 50,000 cars, I believe. Not so pre-market, not much movement, but again, Hertz, I would keep an eye on about 23. But a move that can actually move. So about 23, just keep an eye on it, and we might see a move towards $30. Right, that's a $7 move. So about 23, keep an eye on HTZ. This name may move. All right, if you want to play Chinese names and you want to play some volatility, a stock that moves up a lot, PDD, right? It's at $50. It moves very fast and easy, and this can go up 30-40% on equity in 1-2 days on a $5-6 move or a $10 move, right? So keep an eye on PDD. If you catch the right move, I think the potential is to the upside. I would probably scale in small equity here and then just leave it. And then if it comes down in the coming weeks, buy a small, tiny bit more, and that's it. And then see what it does. All right. So if China rips, then a lot of money in PDD to be made. Right. JD also not a bad number. At double digits, this stock actually held up very well compared to Baba all these months, except when it broke last month. It's right back in the range. Keep an eye on JD as well, about 64, 65-ish. This can also go towards 70s, right? It's Monday. One thing we always say, the first 10-15 minutes, we just watch. Don't just jump in, rush. Today could be a huge green day. It could be a huge red day as well. So don't count out any things. Read up the Gamma report one more time. I posted some research over the weekend from Goldman Sachs. Posted some Tom Lee comments, a lot of information in pre-market prep to get you started for the week, right? So it's up to you how much work you put in, right? And then obviously we'll be live on voice chat and we'll see what happens. God bless, manage well. Position sizing is the biggest tip anyone can give you in the stock market. See you guys.